recording this now?
No, I'm just going to record it in different things. More videos, more hits.
Not just the hammer.
Unbelievable. Okay. We are into Perek Hay. We're going to continue the discussion about the mile of Limud Torah and connecting to the seichel of the Rabbi Baruch Miller. This is another discussion, if I remember correctly, Yehuda loved. I think you were out of the religion after this one, no? Didn't you? You're still here though. So you decided to come back. But he was explaining the last time how it's a very incredibly unique opportunity that we have with mitzvahs and with Torah in this world, more than any opportunity we'll ever have, even Lasud Love, even Lamhaba. There is an opportunity to connect directly to what is the somehow filtered down Chachma, essence of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Chachmasa is echad, chachmasa echad. It's all when we talk about the Chachma of the Rebbeinu Shalom, it is his essence. It's not a thought process where neurons are creating some sort of neurological pathways and thoughts. It is the Rebbeinu Shalom, it's Chachma. And when it becomes filtered down to us in a way we can understand and we can act upon through physical actions, that's a connection to Rebbeinu Shalom that's deeper than being Nana Miziv Shchino. Nana Miziv Shchino is a Mahabadik thing. It's great, it's Geshmak, but it's still, the connection is not as deep. Now he's going to get more into specifically the idea of Limud Torah as far as is concerned. There's maybe one, this is a guess, and I can't stress enough, this is just a guess, but there's maybe one of the Perekim in Tanya that was not well accepted. We discussed at the beginning, that was a little too intellectually focused for some of the other great early masters of Chassidus, and they may perhaps, I could see them not taking issue with this, but again, like I said, it's just a guess. It says there's a lot of maral. You see the influence of the maral in this perek. There's a lot of concepts that we found all over maral, and the maral mentioned was direct from the descendant of the maral, the Tanya, or related. It was closely related, and there was a tremendous influence from the maral on his writing, and you find that a lot in this perek in particular. It says, I'm now going to explain the lashon of tfisa. Shomer Elio. It says les machshava tfisa bo. Our machshava, our thoughts can't be toifis. Why do we refer to a thought of something? Tfisa is holding on to something. So why do we refer to it in that way? What is that meant to express? So it says, Kol seichel, all seichel. There's going to be a lot of words here. There's going to be very wordy. I'm sure each word is meant to express a different element. I don't understand what each line, why there are like 3 lines to say the same thing. But I'm sure if you was born in this for a long time, they can probably come with a better understanding why all these words are here. But the basic idea is as follows: Kol seichel, any seichel, kishemaskil, when he thinks through, umasik, and understands. The sichlo through his seichel, eze muskal, any intellectual thing. Hare ha-seichel toifes es a muskal. The seichel is holding on to that thing. You have it in you. You have that thing. You are holding whatever intellectual experience you've gone, whatever thing you've understood. You are actually holding on to that. Umakifo the seichel. It is that thing is surrounded in your intellect, in your brain. You have surrounded now that thought. The hamuskal, the thing you are understanding is nitfas. It's held onto. Umukaf, and is surrounded. Umelubash, it's dressed. That's the word he keeps using, how it becomes dressed within your seichel. She'esigo, that understood it, viskilo, and processed it. The gam ha-seichel meluvash b'muskal b'shas v'sigo. The seichel itself is now been dressed by the thing it understands. B'shas v'sigo. So there's 2 things that are going on. Number one, the seichel becomes dressed. It now has a what's the word I'm looking for? Like something extra that comes with something. This to the phone is like an accessory, right? So it's like an accessory of the seichel, the thought that you have. But also, as far as the thought is actually concerned, it is internalized within that seichel.
I don't understand it as accessory.
Okay, maybe accessory is not the best word for it. I'm not sure how to say it. I mean, it's a garment, is the word he uses.
You are doing this to that, and then therefore it is now that you're now holding on to that's dressed in like the
well, he's saying there's 2 things that are going on that
right. It's sword, but it's this because of this, and now it's this because that happened. But like I wouldn't call it an accessory. I think that
I think you're right. I don't think accessory is a good word. It becomes part of you, but it's. I mean, he uses the word garment.
It's like making a rubber band ball, and the first rubber band was dressed with other rubber bands. It's not like it's a rubber band ball more.
It's something different. I'm not sure.
More than an accessory.
Yeah, I agree that it's more than accessory, but I don't think that's a good motion for it either, because you're saying that was one thing that got surrounded by the same thing more and more. Here you have a seichel, and now it's something external to the seichel that's now becoming part of it. So it's more like, that's why he calls it a malvish. It's more like a shirt that you put on yourself. The shirt is not just another rubber band on the end of a rubber band. It's a body that has a shirt on it. So it's a seichel that has a thought.
Your shirt changes what you put on a red shirt, green shirt, whatever that's the shirt. It changes who you are.
It's developing it. You're dressing it because you're making it into something. It's like putting makeup on it. Like you're dressing it to make it look a certain way. That's how you.
He's saying the thought is dressing the seichel.
Dressing that thing that your seichel, that thing that you were. Your seichel is dressing the thing that you.
That's the other thing. No, that's not the point I was talking about.
Looking about. Like,
that's the other thing. That's not the point I was talking about. He refers to both things. He refers to how your seichel is dressing the thing, but also the thing is dressing your seichel. There's two different. I thought that's what he meant. There's what you might call a symbiotic relationship. It goes back to it.
That, and based on your upbringing and how you think, is that thought is influencing.
Right, and vice versa. But he's saying besides for that, it's also being nitfas. It's also being held within your, like it's becoming part of the essence of it.
Another thing that's being then.
That's more like the rubber band thing, the holding it type of thing. Okay. It says, Derech Machal, Kisha'adam Mevin Umasik, Eza Halacha b'Mishnah Gemara, when a person understands any halacha in Mishnah or Gemara, La Shiur al Boria, really to its depth. So now his seichel is holding that thing, is surrounding it. The gam seichel meluvash, the seichel has also been meluvash, has been I use the word accessorized, but it's not a great word for it at that time. V'ine halacha zu hi halacha v'hine halacha. Halacha zu hi chachmasai v'ritzoyne shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Is the chachma and the ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She'ala b'ritzoyne, that whenever he had in his thought, kishayiton Ruven kach v'kach, part of the thought of the Rebbeinu Shalom is when Reuven says this and Shimon says this, yeah, psak b'neim kach v'kach, the psak should be this. That is a actual thought of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Even if the case will never happen, it's going to be ben ceremony. The case is never going to happen. Love or the mishpah, it's never going to come actually to din. Al tainos tefillah say exactly with these tainos. Kol makom mi acher shekach olav b'rtzono v'chmaso shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shem yitron kach v'kach v'zeh kach v'kach yapsak kach. When you understand that is what the Rebbeinu Shalom would want, that is his ratzon, you are being masik v'toifis, you are understanding and you are holding, umakif, you are surrounding, bisichloi, in your intellect, literally ratzon of chachmaso shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is what you are doing, a filtered down version of it. But that's what you're doing. The less machshava tfisaveh. That machshava you can't be toifis the Rebbeinu Shalom, but yet at that time you are actually being toifis. The only way to grab any part of the Rebbeinu Shalom is through understanding the halachas in the Torah that he left for us. You can be malabish your seichel, you can dress it with them. This is a deep personal connection to the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's a yichud nifla. That there's no other way to connect on such a deep level. Nimtza klal begashmius lias lachodim v'chodim mamish kol tzad b'pina. V'loy ke'erko nimtza klal begashmius. Something on this level is not. There's no other connection in gashmius, right? We can connect to other people as much as we can. You'll never really have such a deep connection. To be so echad milchad, to be so connected, we call tzad b'tina. We call tzad upina from every side. The Zois Milo Yaseir Gedolim Neflos and Kates, this is a tremendous Milo. Asher the mitzvah Sidias Torah, that the mitzvah of knowing Torah, of Hasagaso and understanding it, I'll call mitzvahs ma'asos. It is therefore makes it levels greater than any mitzvah that's an active mitzvah, that's an action. Va'afilu mitzvahs hakluyos b'dibur, even if it has to do with speaking, that's closer to an intellectual exercise. Afilu mitzvahs Talmud Torah shebedibur, even mitzvahs Talmud Torah that's dibur, that if it's only being functioned through talking, but not through an understanding, it's still not hitting that level.
Or doing.
Or doing, right. He's saying for sure doing, and even when you're talking Torah, you're not on that level when you're really understanding. Through mitzvahs, dibur ma'aser, it's true. Hashem is malbish. You become meluvash. You become whatever we're just discussing. It becomes a garment for you. Me'roishav ad ragla. But it would be yediyas Torah milvad. It's only with yediyas Torah. Shaseichel meluvash b'chochmas Hashem. That if the seichel becomes meluvash, Hine gam chochmas Hashem bekirbo. But besides for that, the chochmas Hashem is really inside of him. Masha seichel masig v'toifes. That the seichel is really understanding and grabbing onto. Makif v'seichel is entirely wrapped up in that. Masha efshel litvos ol hasing v'diyas haTorah. Ish k'fi seichel. Every person k'fi seichel. V'koich yosov v'hasagaso. The koich of his understanding and is able to be masig v'paradis. In the pshat rem is just side of Torah. Whatever you're able to, but whatever you are able to understand is going to be levels greater in terms of the yichud with Rebbeinu Shalom than even Ma'aseh mitzvah or Dibur mitzvah.
But is it being typhus or whatever yichud with Hashem if you're not actually getting it correctly?
That's a good question. If you're not getting it correctly at all, I mean, there is a concept of that just like you makabel, schar for learning Torah, you also for the Torah you have to backtrack on.
That's fine. That's the same as saying that you're speaking the words, but you're not understanding it.
There is this. I'll give you another example. There's a concept like Elu Elu Dilukim Chaim, which Rishonim explain that Hashem, the vastness of the knowledge and the Dias Hashem included even things that were we didn't paskin like, or maybe even things that on a certain level were incorrect. I mean, if someone's saying something totally krum and off, maybe not. But when
if the question is if you don't understand what you're talking about.
What? I can't hear two blunt.
If you're talking, if two people are saying and we're passing like some people passing like him, some people are passing like him. Technically, they're both correct, but one of them are correct.
I understand. Right. So that
really one of them is correct.
But
one of them is the one that.
But as far as Chochmas Hashem, both of them could be included in the Chochmas Hashem. There's no reason why the Chochmas Hashem can't have both of them.
That's not real.
Why? It's a tfisa.
The Chochmas Hashem is Hashem, and he's saying that's one right.
And both sides of it were included in it. The world is created in a way that there are many sides to things. And one side becomes the way we have to be.
I'm not saying the world's created. I'm talking about actual Hashem.
So, and Hashem's thought includes, in terms of His chachma, includes things that aren't necessarily emes in terms of psak, but they are things that are included in what He actually thought as being.
It's not included in terms of psak. That means it's not correct. That means that you're not actually to what His.
But why can't it be the chachmas Hashem includes not only thoughts that are. I'm saying, but the Chachmas Hashem includes things that are not necessarily the way we paskin l'maisa, but can include the way when Hashem approaches these things, He can include many different stuff. There might be one that He's saying this is the one that we're going to go with as psak, but it can include many different things, and it can even include things where He says I believe the psak should be this, but down in this world we actually went a different way. Right, there are gemaras like that where there were simonim in Hashemayin that the psak should be this way, and the Rabbanan said too bad. That and the idea being that the Chochmas Hashem can include things that many things. Now there might be things that are so off that they're not, not every krum thing that's said is necessarily Chochmas Hashem. Right? It's like it's like the famous line from Gedol. They say, you can say over my Torah, not in my name, but don't start saying over your Torah in my name. That's the last thing you can do. So, there are things that people might say over B'Shem Torah Hashem that doesn't fit into that model. But anyway, yes, that is that. We will hold it here.